Let me start with you, Bill. You're the father of abortion. That's what you've been called. Isn't that a euphemism for murderer?
No, I'm a realist. I think that women have an absolute right to abortions. As you know, when I first began in 1963, a woman died in my arms who was desperate in her efforts to abort herself, took a piece of coat hanger, rammed it through the wall of her uterus. We know that woman is dead. We certainly know that no state law has ever been passed.
No, the baby's dead, too, so there were 2 killings.
Well, again, if you say that to me, Mort, then you have to intelligently tell your millions of your audiences, name me any state that an embryo is a person or...
Doesn't mean the state's right, all right? There's a lot of states that I think are wrong. But go ahead, that's a good point.
Any pregnant woman who's counted as 2 people, or any baby when it's born is 9 months old.
Doesn't make mistakes right, though, does it?
Okay, but in your estimation, that's a
in
mistake.
my estimation.
But in millions of Americans, poll after poll, where referendums have been done, such as in New Hampshire, Vermont, states like Massachusetts, Arkansas, all have voted overwhelmingly in support of a woman's right to abortion.
How'd they do in Nevada, Bill, huh? Because I ran that referendum out in Nevada. I put that together. How'd they do, huh? Let me introduce a possible new arm of leadership in a movement that I think has become so fat and happy with their national right to life conventions every year in Nebraska. I mean, you don't get anything done at a damn convention. Randy, let me start with you. Tell me about Operation Rescue. Why did you organize it? And was it to fight guys like Butcher Bill here?
Well, Butcher Bill?
Be careful.
The purpose of Operation Rescue is twofold. Number one, to make women safe from being exploited from people like this and children from being killed. And number two, to put some teeth in our rhetoric. See, what you've said is absolutely right. The pro-life movement has gone around for 15 years saying abortion is murder, but yet we don't act like it's murder. We write little things, we write little letters. Good grief, if one of my children was about to be killed, I'm not going to write a letter to the editor. I'm going to intervene with my body to separate the killer from the victim.
Here's the question I ask myself, Bill. It comes to my mind all the time, and I ask our audience, and Randall, you. I say, as if I could withdraw myself from having an emotional involvement in this issue, which I can, I say to myself, what do the right to lifers have to gain by trying to save the life of an unborn child or a preborn child other than their own souls? What do they have financially to gain? And I say, nothing. Then I say to myself, what do the pro-choicers, all right, who want women to have the right to have an abortion have to gain for themselves? And I say, a lot of dinero, baby. Right. A lot of money.
Would you like an answer?
A lot of money. I'd like to hear an answer from Bill.
Okay. Well, first of all, what anti-abortion people may say, if you force a woman to go through pregnancy, there's a great deal of money in childbirth, $4,000 to $5,000 each child.
Come on. People here aren't trying to get money from babies.
Here we are again, placing a dollar value on human life in this country. Folks, remember it when you get about 75 years old, they want to pull the plug on you.
That's right.
Adele Nathanson is the wife of Dr. Nathanson, who was, if Bill Baird is the father of abortion, I've got to say that, unfortunately, at one time, Dr. Nathanson was the grandfather of abortion, having performed many thousands of abortions. However, in doing this, he came to recognize that there was value in these babies. They were life. Adele, thank you for being with us. Let me ask you a question. The pro-butchers keep saying women have the right to their own bodies. Does that mean they have the right to an abortion also?
Well, I can give you a long medical answer to that, because immunologically, the fetus is not a part of the woman's body.
Of course it's not, if it is.
However,
if it's part of your body, honey, how come 50% of them have balls?
As a pro-life feminist, I want to know why we're destroying half of our sisters in the womb before they get a chance to have their rights outside the womb.
I'm going to get my tail in trouble with you, Judge, all right? So I'm going to read this summons that has been served upon Randall here. And as I look into it, I see that for anyone who peacefully demonstrates in front of an abortion chamber, you will be fined $25,000.
Yeah!
Wait a second. Judge, are you watching me? Are you watching me, Judge? The people think you're an intimidating son of a bitch, all right? And I want you to know something, Judge. Had that $25,000 fine stood for Martin Luther King, we wouldn't have a nation that was advancing towards unity. You're separating us. You're separating us.
Mort!
Judge, that's a piece of... get me and annihilate the public
Get rid of
schools.
the retards. Fantastic. I think that's great.
That's what I do. Now, let's get back on taxes. Bill, you and I know that one of the greatest issues that separates people in this country is the abortion issue. Isn't there another way of not reaching into the pockets of saintly people who believe in persevering and preserving life?
Mort, I honestly believe Mort, we could have a first here today.
Well,
we could
hear
have
the
a
talk down
first
here.
on this broadcast. If I could reach over to Randy, say, Randy, we may disagree on the abortion issue, but let us work together to reduce the need for abortion by promoting birth control. If you remember my case, Baird v. Eisenstadt, legalized birth control. But Randy told me on another broadcast that one of the bills I submitted that you read about, Mr. Dukakis, was the bill on fornication, which carried with it a 6-month jail term. He told me that he had intercourse prior to marriage, but he's opposed now to other people having intercourse.
Let me introduce you to an all-pro who is pro-life, all right? His name is Mark Bavaro. I'm sure you're familiar with Mark. You're all-pro, Super Bowl star for the New York Giants. You've never been grabbed for committing a crime, and yet you were recently arrested. What could be important enough for you to go to jail for?
Abortion.
Abortion? You don't look like you had one.
Well, my philosophy is simple. I believe abortion is murder, and I'll do whatever my God in heaven leads me to do to stop it.
All right. The man.
How long have you been involved in the movement?
I'm just a recent convert. I've been like most Americans. I've never really thought about abortion. It's been too much of a controversial issue. There's too much going on either way. I don't want to alienate people, but hey, I saw old ladies old enough to be my grandmother putting their bodies.
Let's show it. Right here. This is what Bill Baird fights for. This is what Bill Baird fights for.
This is what I fight for.
Here's
No,
a
we're not going to
guy.
show that. We're not going to show that. We're not going to show any of this stuff. All right. I'll tell you what.
But they can show
What?
right till I
That's
fix it.
reality. That's what happens to women when they
You
abort
got
themselves.
one picture of some fat-ass dame who killed herself
Right.
and her baby. He's got a picture of a garbage pail full of babies. You tell me she's worth them? Bull. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on the news at 10, drugs played a big role in last month's Metro North crash. Half of the crew had drugs in their bodies at the time of the train wreck.
Renee, it was...
Hi, former registered nurse who worked in an emergency room in Brooklyn. That fat-ass woman died. Mort, I hope God forgives you. I hope God forgives you.
I hope God forgave her.
This
I hope
movement
God
is
forgave
made
her.
up of nothing but women haters.
hope God
and you
forgave
think
her.
that little thing he's showing is more important than that woman's
You're
life.
damn right,
Bill
I
Baird
think.
is saving
You're damn
lives.
right, I
Bill
think.
Baird
A
is
garbage
saving
pail.
lives.
A
You know it.
garbage pail.
You know it.
A garbage pail. That woman did it. That woman did it herself. Did it herself. Sit down. Sit down. You have finished.
I'm not finished.
You have finished. You finished, lady. Sit down. Sit down, fatso!
I'd like to ask you, I know you've assembled a lot of people from all over the country to come for Operation Rescue, but what does it really accomplish if this morning at Women's Choice, someone can't have an abortion, and a half hour later they take a 20-minute ride to Hempstead, and they have a counseling at Bill Baird, and he refers them to a doctor? What have you done?
Nothing.
Well,
What have you done?
Randy, what have you done? What have you
Since-
done? Is this strictly an exercise for the media?
absolutely not. Already
the
this
media
week,
event.
it is, but there's more to it. Since the beginning of the week, we know of 2 girls that have gone to a pro-life pregnancy center who have changed their mind, who were scheduled to have abortions. And so there's 2 people. Maybe it'll be a president. Maybe it'll be another Susan B. Anthony. We
Or
don't
maybe
know.
another Hitler.
But
Maybe another
it's
Hitler.
better than that baby being killed in the womb by people like your Dr. Jaffe, who's an ear, nose, and throat specialist who did an abortion on a woman who now can't have children.
She
That's not, you just had a baby, Randy.
At least she can still hear, huh?
Well,
You know
that's
how
not what...
dumb you are that you don't know
let me
facts.
go to you.